Here's Brody Brazil.
Okay, it's time for me to ask an honest question. Are you ready for it? I don't think you're ready. And actually, I want to prepare you because some people might be offended by this, but it's important. I want this to sink in. Did Sharks fans get spoiled? And I'm not just talking about recent years. I'm talking about all of the 30 plus years of the existence of the franchise. Have the Sharks fans become too accustomed to winning and success and things going right that they're maybe a little bit off base in terms of expectations or reality? And before I dive into this, I just want to tell you, I'm not pointing the finger at any of you. I'm saying I'm in this too. That's young Brazil in 1993, going to a Sharks game at San Jose Arena. Right? So I'm with you in this. I'm throwing myself in the conversation. I got the receipts. There's me on my, 13th birthday, 1994. I just got the home white jersey. Yeah, they were wearing the home whites back then, right? So I'm in this as much as you are. I'm including myself to say and wonder, I think we might have all got spoiled in two ways here, right? Over all the years, yes, but especially in the 2010s, in the prior decade to this one. Sharks made the playoffs 8 out of 10 tries in that decade. That's very successful. They went to 2 conference finals. They went to a Stanley Cup final. They had a points percentage in the regular seasons of all of those years, which was usually above 600, right? Points in 60% or higher of the games. That's a lot. Thornton and Marleau, they had that tandem for virtually the entire decade, most of it, right? But to have star power like that, 2 future Hall of Famers on your team for all of those years, it's uncommon in sports. And again, for most of the decade, the tank was always sold out. The atmosphere was insane. I realize things are not the same right now, but I want to focus on this last decade. The team always spent to the cap. They always made the roster and the season, and the possibilities interesting, right? The Sharks were literally on a roll for more than an entire decade. But even in the bigger picture, right? Let's go back to expansion days. Let's go back to the Cow Palace days, even when they were brand new. And yeah, it was a rough first 2 seasons. I think they made the playoffs in their 3rd and 4th years, and then 5th and 6th also missed. But 30 years of hockey for the Sharks. They've made the playoffs in 21 of those 30 tries. That's pretty darn good. I bet most teams, most franchises in their first 30 years cannot say the same. They've always had compelling rosters. I think I said that before about the last decade, but they've always found a way to have players on the team who are either interesting to watch or made you think that when put together, had a really good chance of being a successful team. The product has always been marketable. Come to a Sharks game. It's exciting. Hockey is a little bit, non-traditional in Northern California, so you should check it out. We're going to give you a good platform to experience your first hockey game. Always been a social atmosphere. Downtown San Jose, the tank is right there. Home ice advantage, I think because of the nature of the building. It's not the biggest in the league, but fans are right on the ice. Coming out of the Shark Head, they've made it a thing, right, since 1991. I say they own their home market. Now, no disrespect to MLS San Jose Earthquakes fans. I realize there's another professional sports team in San Jose. No question about that. I'm just saying that the Sharks have more consistently been there, and they've obviously been a bigger draw. Like, they got to establish in San Jose at a time where not much else was going on. They got to kind of dominate the South Bay, make the market theirs. A lot of other hockey teams can't say that. They share a market. They're not the top dog in their region. They don't get all the attention. And I realize the Sharks in the Bay Area don't have the biggest spotlight of all the teams or sports or franchises, but in San Jose, the Sharks are a big deal. So they get to own that. But all of that put together, right? Like we've been fortunate as fans and followers of the Sharks. Like, they've had a lot of good breaks go their way. And fans have too. They've had a lot of success. I realize also they've had some heartbreak. To get that close to a Stanley Cup in the final and that close to winning a Stanley Cup in 2016, yeah, it still stings. to have so many conference finals end the wrong way, to have so many series end the wrong way despite a really good fight. I get it. There's been a lot of heartbreak right now. But I would also tell you at this moment, I think we're all realizing that after 3 straight years of no playoffs, maybe we are at the bottom. I mean, when the franchise started, they lost a lot more games back then, but maybe right now, haven't seen the playoffs in 3 years for the first time, maybe this is the bottom. So what do we gain from these times here and now, right? Like, the past is what it is. We hope for a different future, whether we've been spoiled or not. How do we understand and accept right now? And what do we take from this moving forward? Obviously, the 3 years of struggles in the last couple of years, they've been rough. They've been atypical, but we've been so fortunate that a 3-year playoff drought is the longest they've ever gone once. So many teams across professional sports don't make the playoffs 3 years in a row. And I get it. In hockey, half the teams do make it now, so it's a large chance that you could and should. But again, let's realize what we're talking about here in terms of how much we think they're struggling in comparison to what real struggles are. But there are some new directions now. The front office has changed. A head coach has now changed again. Some major players have already changed. The team just traded Brent Burns. Who knows what's next? I don't. But I think right now is the time to embrace the past and better understand the past. Yeah, we took it for granted, right? In all the 2010s. And overall, in the big picture, we're probably still taking it all for granted. But especially in the last decade, we got spoiled. There's no question about it. Here, let me just say it on every camera. We got spoiled. We got spoiled. We got spoiled. So, embrace the past. Realize that our expectations got a little bit jaded and success was there. And now it's time to build it and get it back. And that's why what this will help us all do is appreciate the future. If you've made the playoffs every year, it's like a drop in the bucket. It's no big deal. How many seasons were there that the Sharks pretty much, like the moment the puck dropped on opening night, you knew, all right, they're going to win, enough games to get, 94 points. They'll be in the playoffs. No question about it. There were a lot of years that were that way, and then they were in the playoffs. So when it gets back to being like that, I truly think we will all appreciate the future that much more. So to recap here, the honest question, did Sharks fans get spoiled, including me and you? Probably yes. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below.